Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and when I was a kid, I sucked my thumb. My parents' favorite, I don't think I've ever told you this story on this channel. My parents' favorite story about me is on this one Sunday, my grandparents had come over after church to eat lunch at our house, and I had my full cowboy outfit on, which I believe, red shirts, black pants, the boots, cowboy hat, and I had a holster on, and I was sitting on the front porch as my grandparents were leaving. And my parents I had of course had my thumb in my mouth, and my parents had been trying to get me to stop sucking my thumb. They had tried everything. If you remember, there used to be the little chemical that you could paint on your kid's finger, your kid's thumb, so that when they put it in their mouth, it had a bad taste. Well, I've told you how hard-headed my 7-year-old is, and I've told you where he gets it from me. And so I'm sitting on the front porch, if you can imagine this, and my mom and my dad are standing there, and my grandparents are leaving, driving away in the car, and my mother looks down at me and says to the Digital Asset Investor, says, "Cowboys don't suck their thumbs." And I sat there for a minute and I thought about that for a little while, didn't say a word, kept my thumb in my mouth, and then after about 10 or 15 seconds I stood up and unbuckled my guns, and the guns, my holster dropped to the ground. And that is my parents' favorite story about me as a child. So, and I guess the moral of the story is, when tough times come, know who you are, because the Digital Asset Investor was a thumb sucker, and I knew what I wanted out of life, and that was to suck my thumb. Michelle Vandenberg sent me this first thing, and that is this right here. I don't like hype in principle, but this connection gives me goosebumps. And what this is, I don't think I've shown you this before, but if you look right here, potential X Rapid Flow destination tag, MoneyGram plus Ripple partnership, I guess, is announced here. And this says we started executing trades, and it's showing you the volume flow that's going, how it spiked off but then they're tying it in. Now look right here. This is right around August the 1st. Look at the title of this article, and the date is July 24th. Visa and MoneyGram team up to simplify overseas money transfers. 2 priority corridors, United States to Mexico and United States to Philippines. So I guess the inference is that the volume spiked right in line with that. And this gave this guy goosebumps. Interesting stuff. Now, this was from Backup Brad Combs. Give him a follow at Backup Bradley and follow him and give him a subscribe. He does a great live stream on YouTube in the mornings and at night. Usually his night stream is while I'm laying in the bed going to bed, and I usually pass out if I try to listen to it at night because I'm just getting old, I guess. But he's Investment Perspectives. He tweeted this out from Donald Trump. This is how ridiculous that our government has gotten about how they think things need to be manipulated. From Donald Trump, the Federal Reserve should get our interest rates down to 0 or less, and we should then start to refinance our debt. Interest costs could be brought way down, while at the same time substantially lengthening the term. We have the great currency power and balance sheet. The USA should always be paying the lowest rate, no inflation. It is only the naivete of Jay Powell and Federal Reserve that doesn't allow us to do what other countries are already doing. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that we are missing because of boneheads. Here's what I want to say about this, folks, and here's why this is so dangerous. And this is why digital assets are the answer to all of this. Digital assets are for the purpose of taking out the middleman. And if you remember, when Trump was running for office, he was saying the exact opposite of this. because he knew it would get him elected. And this is the problem. When you have politicians and central bankers that can try to jimmy with the financial system and totally screw things up at will based on political ambitions. In this case, he has to have a good economy going into the next election. He has no choice. I don't believe that he believes any of this. I don't think he thinks that this is good in the long run for our country. This is short-term things. This creates future destruction of our economy. And he said so himself while he was running. And this is not, I'm not weighing in on politics. I think it's all politicians and all government that has served us wrong because they have the wrong motivations. They have personal political motivations to do the things they do and to help their friends out. And that's why digital assets and true transparency would be such a great thing. Remember the Brad Garlinghouse interview was supposed to happen today. They pushed it off. This is the lady that was going to do the interview on CNN International. She says, calling all Ripple and XRP enthusiasts, the interview with Brad Garlinghouse will air on tomorrow's First Move. We didn't want to interrupt the interview with today's special September 11th memorial coverage. Check it out Thursday this week after 9:30 a.m. First Move is it's weekdays at 9 o'clock. So that's what you want to tune into. Is First Move is the channel at 9 o'clock and it's going to show after 9:30 Eastern time on CNN International tomorrow. All right, and Michael at VAL5 Links, we talked about the Lightning Network. There was an article about how there were some flaws exposed, and now we're seeing this. Bitcoin funds may have disappeared as Lightning Network flaw exploited in the wild. I'm not going into the article. That speaks for itself. We've heard nothing but bad things about the Lightning Network ever since it was created. And meanwhile, XRP holders already have a Lightning Network. Jonathan D. Here is what he sent me today from Tony Valentino. This guy just keeps on putting out the tweets. He's retweeting this from Stuart XRP, and this is an Ashish Burla quote. Change Wave Podcast Ripple Ashish Burla. I'm thinking about what other cool product we can build that we can take back to our customers, one of them being loans, micro loans. And then Valentino says, I don't think they let this guy sit in on the big boy meetings. He's talking about fintech company Ripple offering loans to countries. That's the job of the IMF. Some people are blessed with brains for specific things. Other things they have to learn. We are all learning, right? I agree with that. I know he says micro loans, but we all know it's macro loans. Ripple customers don't need a Ripple product to offer micro loans. That's already being done for decades. Unless he's talking about creating a product to offer $1 and $5 loans, but the XRP escrow will go to the IMF. Interesting thoughts, folks. Interesting thoughts. XRP Vegas at Funky Bad Chad sent me this. Mastercard R3 to develop blockchain cross-border payments platform. Payments giant Mastercard is to develop a blockchain-powered cross-border payments platform in partnership with enterprise-focused blockchain firm R3. This is going to be interesting to see where this leads. I bet it leads to some kind of joint venture with Mastercard and Ripple, if that's not already a part of it. Okay, Chinu Patel at Chinu Patel 29 sent me this. Now, I have shown this a good many times on this channel, but there are new people that watch this channel, and I want to show it. This guy follows me, so I'm going to follow him back. I want to show you that anytime this pops up on my radar, I direct people back to the video, and the reason is simple. It needs to go to the masses because this video is one of the greatest examples of how things are manipulated by the powers that be. This is a video that Glenn Beck had this guy from the Palm Beach Report on his show back in 2018. He has a chalkboard thing, and on YouTube you can find the whole video, but in this particular clip He shows you how things were manipulated, have been manipulated in the past, and how they try to scare the retail investors away from things while the institutional investors invest in them, and then later on they go up and boom. And so it's great for you as retail investors to go and see this and be reminded. And here's another reminder from NBK Crypto, at NBKLYRAD. This is a guy that's replying to a string that was going on where David Schwartz is being accused of all of this stuff. And then this Tom Postma guy, let me see if he doesn't follow me. But anyway, he says, Amazon took more than 14 years to make a net profit. If investors would be like the people that complain about the dump of XRP by Ripple, then Amazon would not be here, and they missed out on 9.89% increase year over year. And he's got a tweet here where you can go and look at what he's talking about. But it's so true. I mean, people could have said the same thing about Amazon back in the day. Okay, now this was interesting right here. XRP lighting the way sent me this. Japan is quietly becoming the world's biggest market for cryptocurrency, specifically XRP following its long-standing partnership with strategic business innovator group SBI, a financial giant of Japan. Now folks, I've said it 1,000 times on here, SBI is the Ripple ace in the hole, always has been. I think that that selling 10.5% of Ripple to SBI was intentional on the part of Ripple, because at that point Ripple became global. That's why I always laugh at all this, oh, XRP's a security, all that talk, because if the SEC is not stupid, the SEC is not going to, when they know that Ripple, that XRP is a global thing now. XRP is going to go off in Japan no matter what happens to the United States, and the United States is not going to give that advantage to Japan or any other country. Well, look at this article. This is interesting. Here, they're talking about, this is the chief operating officer of one of the largest exchanges in Japan, Bitbank. I'm not going to try to say his name because I don't have the official language snob on the line right now, and so I'm not going to try that. But this is what he says. He says Ripple has good relationships with many companies, including SBI Holdings of Japan. Of course, we have good relationships not only with Japanese companies, but also with the whole world. That's why Japanese people see it as a reliable cryptocurrency, which seems to be the biggest reason, because of the perception that it is easy to use through these relationships. Now, here's the interesting part right here. I think it's right here. SBI Holdings announces fourth Megabank concept. This is the first I've heard of this. Ripple's strategy of collaboration with different banks and financial institutions has been working pretty well to popularize XRP and its blockchain products in the payments industry. Especially in Japan, Ripple's XRP stands out as the most popular cryptocurrency. Very recently, the president of SBI Holdings, Yoshitaka Katal, mentioned about the fourth Megabank concept at FinSum 2019 event, organized by Nikkei Inc., Japan's financial services agency. At the 3 Mega FinTech blockchain event held in the land of the rising sun, Tokyo, SBI Holdings shared the glimpse of the fourth Megabank concept with the help of financial institutions. We will use various fintechs in Japan and overseas to realize the fourth Megabank concept with regional financial institutions. I don't know what that is, folks, but that gets me excited, because as I've said many a time on here, when the history books are written, SBI and Yoshitaka Katal will be two of the most important things in mentioning Ripple and XRP in the history books, period. And I think this fourth Megabank concept involves Ripple and XRP, and I think it's going to be a monster. Next, from CS May, sent me this. This is so awesome. We showed you this in the last video. This was David Schwartz saying, who says history has to be boring? And he was showing this movie, The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then Bigfoot. Well, look, one of our XRP community geniuses, this guy, let me see if I follow him. I do not. Now I do. at Crypto0s said, I've got my version of this movie, not bad for 10 minutes of work. And guess what you get out of that, buddy? You're getting a digital asset investor thumbnail out of that. The man who killed Bitcoin by creating XRP. It's got David Schwartz as a Nazi, I believe, unfortunately. But that is pretty darn good. I'm going to make that the thumbnail. Okay. And next, the crypto utility guy at Utility Guy 7. Crypto exchange OKX to list Hedera Hashgraphs token HBAR. That is big news, folks. I'm looking for somebody. Please let me know of anybody in the U.S. where I can go and buy some of these because I want some. Worrisome Bickerton sent me this. I have seen this before, but it's hilarious. This is about Stan, I believe, from South Park. He goes in to try to open a bank account, and I think it was during the financial crisis. But this is 8 minutes of how funny, of making fun of how ridiculous the financial crisis, I think, was. And it's really worth watching. Type in South Park Margaritaville, and you can go watch it. It's the guy whose channel it is, the Wolverine 1984. And finally, X-Men XRP sent me a new John McAfee update. McAfee, that is. I keep forgetting to say it right. Look around you, please. So he did another one of his rants on this video. You need to go and watch it. I watched part of it. I'm about to watch the rest of it. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button. And tell your friends and family to please go watch John McAfee because it's always so entertaining. Thank you for listening.